Coming up in today's Leeds news, Bogle Not For Sale, Piroe has real interest, Farke's best season as a Premier League manager, Newcastle absentees for Leeds visit, Hull want Gelhardt permanently, and rumour mill stories on Simic and Dovbyk. Hiya folks, welcome to the Leeds View for your daily Leeds United news. Jer here on the 6th of January with your Leeds United news. One day to go until Leeds travel up a bit more north, I think, to take on Newcastle United in another away game. Leeds unbeaten in the last 2 games on the road, so looking to keep that record going. We've got a bit of news on the team and that game as we go through this, and we're keeping the rumour mill stuff towards the back end of it. It's quiet on the transfers front, just to let you know, but we'll start off today and we'll get one story out of the way nice and quickly. There's been some stories floating around in recent weeks that Everton have been interested in bringing Leeds United right back Jaden Bogle into their squad, either in January or towards the end of the seasons. Bogle's absence from Leeds United's team sheet initially caused a little bit of concern online at the weekend, with people wondering if there was more to it than just a possible injury. It has now been confirmed as a calf injury, but during yesterday's pre-match press conference for the Newcastle game, Daniel Farke was asked to alleviate Leeds United fan fears and that Jaden Bogle will still be a Leeds United player come the end of January when the window closes. And on the topic, Daniel Farke said this: "Bogle is our player and will be our player, not even a topic that we have to speak about." Short, decisive and clear from Daniel Farke, and gets it out of the way. Farke has also confirmed that Bogle and Joe Rodon are back in training. He's hoping that they can join in team training either today or tomorrow morning before they travel to Newcastle, and they might even get a chance to be involved in that game in some capacity. Dan James also back in training but doing individual work, and is likely to be another 2 weeks away from getting back into full team training. But good to know that Jaden Bogle will still be a Leeds player, and Leeds have very definitively written that one off very quickly. So nice one. They're just going definitively right off all the incoming ones nice and quickly as well. But yeah, didn't always feel like there was an awful lot in that one, but nice to get it off the plate anyway and out of the way. Let's move on. Let's talk about Joe Piroe. As much as Daniel Farke doesn't want to upset the balance of his squad right now, 1 or 2 exits this month are likely if Leeds United are going to bring in anybody for any kind of a decent fee. Joel Piroe's late introduction at the weekend against Manchester United almost saw him become an instant hero after his late effort went just over the crossbar. But according to a report today in the Yorkshire Evening Post, Leeds club sources have now admitted that there is real interest in Joe Piroe this month, and it comes from at home as well as abroad. Farke has admitted that players could leave Leeds if they go to him and ask to leave the club. He doesn't want anyone here who doesn't want to be here, but he's also said it's not a topic that he'll be discussing publicly should they come and discuss it with him. In Piroe's case, Coventry, Birmingham City and PSV Eindhoven are all said to have real interest in the Leeds United striker. There's other interest from Sheffield United, rumoured as well, but they've just confirmed Patrick Bamford on a 2-year deal now this month, so that seems unlikely. But the fact that the club have now admitted that there is interest in Joel Piroe, if he wants to go, if the club needs to bring in some money, maybe we see him exit the club. It was great to see his little cameo at the weekend. I thought he was very good when he did come on. I know an awful lot of people, including myself, do like Joel Piroe, but I think a lot of this will depend on if Leeds decide to bring in an additional striker. And we have a bit of news on that towards the back end in the rumour section. Let's move on. Let's talk about Daniel Farke. Leeds' turnaround over the past 2 months has been refreshing, and it shows that Daniel Farke can be flexible and can be unpredictable. Farke himself has had to admit recently that the December month has been his best month as a Premier League manager, as Leeds have gone unbeaten throughout that month. The first time since Leeds have done that since 2001 in November at that point. But this is not just Daniel Farke's best month, this is his best season as a Premier League manager already. During his 2 campaigns at Norwich in the Premier League, his first campaign, Norwich were relegated on 21 points. His second season in the Premier League, Norwich went down with 22 points, the same total as Leeds have right now, but Daniel Farke had been relieved of his duties before that stage. He's now sitting on 22 points and he's got a 3-game gap between himself and the relegation zone, and right now this is Daniel Farke's best season on paper. Well, he needs 1 more point to guarantee that, which he'll likely pick up between now and the end of the season. All going to plan, and if the club board finally back him this month, and they do need to back him this month to give him what he needs for Leeds to the back end of the season, Leeds could stay in the Premier League and he could be the man to keep Leeds. And it's a hell of a turnaround since the beginning of the season, that run of losses for Leeds in a row. At this point, Leeds have now exceeded the total points of the season for Southampton, who finished last year on 12 points. Ipswich were now level with them on 22 and 3 points behind Leicester's total of 25. Now, none of this is comparable because they're last season, and it doesn't mean Leeds United are safe by any stretch of the imagination, but it does book one of the trends the Leeds were hoping to break this season when they came up, and that was to not be the same as the relegated sides over the last couple of years, and they're heading in the right direction. 3 or 4 more wins, hopefully 4 or 5 more draws, and Leeds could be in a decent position come the end of the season. I have a funny feeling this year you're going to need 40 points to stay in the Premier League, but we'll have to see. Tonight's game, I think a draw or a Nottingham Forest win suits us best again to keep that gap between West Ham and then go and try and get something away to Newcastle, which won't be easy, but we will talk about that next. And a few issues for Newcastle. Leeds United will welcome back Ethan Ampadu to the squad with late checks on Rodon and Bogle to see if they could be involved in the game. John Longstaff also expected to be involved in some capacity in the game. Eddie Howe says, though, that they have their own issues coming into this game tomorrow night. Jacob Murphy is a doubt for the game after a scan on a hamstring injury, although Howe admits it's more likely to just be a fatigue situation after his output and performances in recent weeks. Anthony Elanga is also confirmed as being out of the game tomorrow night. Lewis Hall is a doubt for Newcastle, while Asula, Kraft, Lascelles and Dan Byrne are all out of the game at this point. It still won't be an easy game for Leeds United, but the fact that they have a few injuries, they've got a lot of quality and depth in Newcastle. They're having a very strange season, but they are competing on a lot of fronts this year. But they are at home. St James's Park is a tough ground to go to. It'll be aggressive. Leeds fans will be stuck up in the gods. See if we can be heard this time around. But yeah, it won't be a straightforward game by any stretch of the imagination, but fingers crossed for Leeds, we can get something away. The run has to come to an end at some point, but the longer it can go on, the better for everybody. Let's get into a potential exit story about Joe Gelhardt. Joe Gelhardt may be out injured currently, but the on-loan Leeds attacker's long-term future has been regularly discussed across the back pages over the last couple of months. Gelhardt still has over a year to run on his current Leeds United deal, but Hull City say that they are very keen to make his move to the club a permanent one, and their owner has been discussing it this weekend. Akun Ilakali spoke to Hull Live about Joffe and says that he wants to keep the attacker on a permanent basis and described him as a special player. And on the topic, he said the following: Gelhardt is a special boy. The fans know the story about how much he pushed to come here, plus how much he sacrificed to come back to Hull City. I think Gelhardt is a special person, and for us, our target is for him to be with us permanently, so he's our player. The report says there will likely be several clubs interested in Joe Gelhardt come the end of the season once his current loan expires. Leeds may want to hang on until the end of the season to try and maximise their cash input at that point, although his contract is ticking down. The issue for Hull is they're still under a transfer embargo right now, so they can't make the move permanent in January. They do have a couple of ex-Leeds players currently on their books right now. Darko JB and James De Bio are both with their squad right now. They signed De Bio after the weekend after he had a successful trial at the club, and Darko JB went there on a free transfer, although Leeds do have a 50% sell-on clause in that deal, and his season has been getting better and better as it goes on. He's getting a lot of praise right now from the Hull City fan base. Gelhardt has been very well liked there. He's had a great season. He's got 10 goals this season plus 3 assists. Out injured right now, due back shortly, and we've been keeping track of him over the course of the season on loan watch, but he could be a player Leeds could get some money for. Whether they decide if there's interest in him in January, do they cancel the loan, bring him back? Is there even a cancel clause in the deal? I don't really know, but there is an interesting topic to keep an eye on. But his transfer fee has likely gone up. Leeds wanted £5 million, between £3 and £5 million in the summer. There's rumours to say Leeds want closer to £8 million for him now, but the longer his contract ticks down, the more that comes down. And we don't want to see ourselves in a situation that we saw with Ilan Meslier come the end of the season either. Let's move on. Let's get into the rumour mill. Start off with Carlos Simic, and according to the Croatian paper 24 Sara, via the Yorkshire Evening Post, they say Leeds United along with Juventus and Atletico Madrid are all interested in Croatian prospect Carlo Simic. Simic is rated as one of Croatia's hottest and brightest prospects now, and he can play anywhere across the front positions as a striker, a 10, a winger, or as an attacking midfielder as well. The 18-year-old came through the São Paulo Youth Academy before then moving on to Wolfsburg in 2017, where he's become a regular scorer for the Bundesliga club's academy side. He's got 30 goal contributions in 60 games for the under-17s. The Croatian outlet claim that Leeds United have serious interest in the attacker, but will face competition from Atletico and Juve. It doesn't feel like it's a transfer for the Leeds United first team. It does look very much like he's a player that Leeds would look to bring in and put into the under-21 side. If they try to progress the likes of Harry Gray through, they might need more options there as well, and they want to have a continuous conveyor belt of young players coming through. He's a talented young player, but he is a young player, nothing that we need to worry about for the first team squad, at least for now. But talking about a striker for the first team, this name just keeps coming up. It won't go away, and it's starting to get a little bit like the summer when it comes to this one. It's Artem Dovbyk. Roma have told the striker that he can go after they brought him in the summer. He does fit the mould for Leeds United if they want an additional striker similar to DCL and Lucas Mecha. He was very, very good for Girona, had a very high goal scoring output, but he struggled to settle to life in Italy. Tutto Mercato Web today have said that Leeds United and Sunderland both have interest in the player, and they say that Leeds are keenly interested in the striker, whatever that means. The situation for Leeds would be the current Roma manager doesn't like him, doesn't want to keep him around the place, but managers in Italy change very quickly, and Roma could maybe be open to a loan exit and have a look at him. Leeds could maybe even put an option in there should it go well and get a striker that they did want in the summer and bring him in during the January one. Going off of Italian media, even Spanish media right now, they're not been hugely accurate when it comes to transfers. Leeds' name's been linked with a huge amount of players, so I would take that one with a healthy grain of salt, but he does fit an awful lot of what Leeds would want. The age profile, the size, the goal output, the type of striker, the profile that he is. He ticks an awful lot of boxes there, and if he can recapture the goal scoring form that he had at Girona, maybe his season started with an injury. He missed a lot of pre-season, so he never really got into his stride there. Even Evan Ferguson has struggled over there at times as well. So it's a different kind of league, Italy, and he probably suits Spain, Bundesliga, Premier League a little bit more than he does over there. But we'll keep an eye on it and we'll let you know any more details. You can check out the podcast from last night as well. Myself, Oscar Marriott from All Leeds TV, as well as Jerry McNamee, looked back at the Manchester United game, a little bit of January talk, and also looked ahead to the Newcastle game tomorrow night. We will have a watch along over on bigup.com tomorrow night if you want to join us for that, and the instant match reaction back on YouTube. Outside of that, folks, that'll be it for me today. Have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. See you later. Bye.